Hi, my name is Chris Newman. I'm head of the Outdoor Education Department at the East Campus, Uwcsea, and in my 11th year at the college right now. Prior to joining, I started training and working in England during the 1990s and also travelled to a few nice parts of the world as I sought out various adventure learning and career development opportunities. My foundational passions are water-based thanks to my grandparents who built a small yacht in their back garden in 1977. Sailing, windsurfing, kite surfing, surfing and scuba diving have all been passions. It's really cool to see those first four develop onto hydrofoils recently. I'm also very happy on skateboards, rock climbing, jungle trekking, and have been known to climb a few small mountains from time to time. It's a pleasure to be representing outdoor education at Uwcsea in this very special 50th anniversary year. And who better to help out than Samson, who is now in his 13th year with the college. Over to you, Ollie.
Thanks, Chris. Hi everyone, Ollie here. I'm head of the Outdoor Education Department on the Dover campus. My grounding in outdoor education began as a child through the scouting movement and trips to my local outdoor education centre in South Wales. I'd save my pocket money, find all sorts of creative ways to make my lunch money go further alongside part-time jobs to go on as many trips as I possibly could. An experience that stood out for me was sailing across the English Channel as a 14-year-old on what is now Gordonstoun School's Ketch Ocean Spirit of Moray. Ultimately, it was rock climbing and kayaking that I pursued. However, that week sailing was a formative experience for me as a teenager. The culmination of my outdoor experiences as a child and graduation into adulthood was a gap year that included an incredibly eye-opening 3-month expedition to the mountains of northern India. I continue to seek and share those sorts of vivid and grounding experiences as an adult. It's a privilege to lead the outdoor education team alongside Chris and to be celebrating with you Uwcsea's 50th year and the UWC movement's rich heritage. The purpose of this session is to consider the importance of outdoor education in a world that is changing at unprecedented pace. We aim to shed light on why, how and what's next for outdoor education at Uwcsea. Please take notes that we'll both be available to interact throughout the presentation in the chat, and we'll be staying back at the end if anyone would like to join us for questions and discussion. Over to you, Chris.
Thanks, Ollie. So let's look at the why and start with a short story. In 1992, I found myself out with peers during my GCSE in outdoor education on a snow-covered mountainside in Wales. The wind and snow was blasting faces and exposed wrists and necks. We were learning to use boot-mounted crampons to grip the icy terrain. I stumbled slowly upwards whilst shredding my mother's flashy Peter Storm rainproof trousers through excited inexperience and being distracted by the beauty and awe of our wild and somewhat scary surroundings. Now we've reached a level where we can practice a glissade, where we slide down the mountain on a bum and then an ice axe arrest where you actually have to stop yourself from sliding without impaling yourselves. Okay, I'm going to need to stop on that story right there, otherwise we'll go out of time, but this is just one of many moments of my younger years that sparked a desire for special and or unusual experiences, and I think it fits quite well with this Kurt Hahn quote.
Right now in 2022, we humans have reached dizzying heights of science and technology which continue to develop at unprecedented speed. This affects all manner of modern day living: business, consumption, transport, medicine, creativity, education, entertainment, social media, health, fitness and well-being. While modern technologies and practices are designed to enhance and improve our lives, there are undoubtedly questions that arise about modern lifestyle, the pace, choices, expectations, pressure, filtering and processing of information, and how it all affects individual and community well-being. It's only fitting that as educators we're continually reflecting on how we are equipping young learners to tackle the information era with a balanced and holistic approach. At Uwcsea, we are grateful for the robust foundations of Kurt Hahn's educational philosophy, in which outdoor education is highly regarded and an expected part of the holistic learning programme for every child throughout their journey at Uwcsea. Let's be reminded why outdoor education is considered to be so important. Also, this is the interactive element of the session, and to check you're not sleeping yet, we have a few short sections for you to read. Kurt Hahn wrote, "There is more to us than we know, if we can be made to see it. Perhaps for the rest of our lives we'll be unwilling to settle for less. If we can be made to see it," are the standout words in this line. The experience shows time after time students speak to this during outdoor education experiences. Carrying on and persevering when it's tough.
This is a grade 6 student embracing and acknowledging an experience and being present. This is a grade 7 student learning to tame the power of the paddle.
It's an anecdote from a grade 8 student. This particular statement gave me goosebumps at the time, it still does now. It was a moment of clarity and epiphany for the student, and a great example of deep learning that we're trying to achieve.
While we have the great Howard Gardner with us at the forum, it's only fitting to look at some of his wisdom that links holistic learning opportunities. Gardner's statement really points to the importance of creating different learning opportunities and environments that occur readily in the outdoor education setting. Over the years, it's been evident that adventurous outdoor learning opportunities give learners so many ways for growth. We only need to look at the Scouts, Guides, Duke of Edinburgh, John Muir Award, and Outward Bound, and many more, such as the Forest School Association today. They all champion the importance of outdoor adventurous play and skills in nature as key ingredients to nurturing curiosity, personal growth, confidence, self-esteem, empathy and compassion for all age ranges. It's interesting to consider how Indigenous people and various cultures live and educate their children, reflecting these values and attributes in everyday life. Here in Colin Mortlock's perspective, from his fascinating book, The Adventure Alternative,
we've seen this throughout the pandemic with people seeking out the wild places of Singapore. The numerous new pathways that now cross the unmanaged Clementi Forest, also the surge in buying of bicycles, inflatable paddleboards and kayaks, or where there were multiple months waiting lists for lessons for cycling, skateboarding, sailing, windsurfing, kayaking and even powerboating. Thankfully this is easing now as opportunities for travel gradually returns. Prior to Mortlock's work, Kurt Hahn identified 6 declines of modern youth long before televisions were a normal household item, let alone smartphones, social media or the internet era. Interesting, isn't it? And now you can see Hahn's antidotes to address these declines. While Kurt Hahn's generation preceded Colin Mortlock, they both point to a sickness and decline that affects humanity, and in turn dedicated their lives to advocating for and structuring educational experiences for young people to access much more in themselves for the purpose of greater fulfillment, community-minded and healthy values, with the ultimate goal of unity and peace. After all, Hahn lived through the dark times of 2 world wars. He left Germany for the UK in 1933 and the following year set up Gordonston School in Scotland, where he met a young Prince Philip as a student, who later went on to evolve Hahn's educational philosophy into the Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme.
Richard Louv, in his 2005 book, Last Child in the Woods, describes nature deficit disorder as a significant concern and explains how many children are now plugged and wired into electronic devices far removed from the beauty of nature and all the great lessons it can provide. For a new generation, nature is more abstraction than reality. Increasingly, nature is something to watch, consume, to wear, to ignore. Another source, Public Health England report entitled How Healthy Behaviour Supports Children's Wellbeing, the section on screen time describes the many negative effects on young people who spend increasing amounts of time isolated in bedrooms with TVs, computer games and social media, for example. These are all concerns that the report has picked up. The physical activity section illuminates that many young people do not meet the minimum recommended levels of physical activity, which is 1 hour per day. And the benefits of taking more physical activity include we can look at what the Uwcsea students are saying, both in the Oregon State University study on the longitudinal effects of outdoor education, which highlights developmental improvements of grit and resilience, along with anecdotal student feedback directly to us. Here are some more quotes from middle school students who took part in 4-day outdoor education programs in Singapore recently.
So, concluding the why section, the evidence shows that outdoor education has numerous benefits, from improved self-esteem, self-awareness, positive risk-taking, teamwork, communication, empathy, collaboration and problem solving, pastime passions by promoting inclusive physical activity, personal and community growth, fostering a genuine connection to, concern and care for the natural world, and providing an important alternative to screen-based activities. Can you remember your own outdoor education school experiences? We'd love to hear from you.
So, with all that in mind, let's dive into the how. Structuring outdoor education within the program at Uwcsea has been an interesting journey in itself. Many moons ago, it relied on the enthusiasm and experience of academic teachers who were passionate and willing to take students camping, trekking, sailing and kayaking in after school or weekend format. There was also the adventure beach site of Baluntur in Malaysia that students were involved in constructing.
The former successes of the programme have gradually evolved into being taught and facilitated by full-time outdoor education specialists that are dedicated to the art of leading students through a range of activities that are designed around a fully articulated curriculum, which itself was co-developed and constructed by the College Directors of Teaching and Learning and the Outdoor Education Department. The main standards are self, others, connectedness to nature and expedition skills. Often, outdoor education is seen through the lens of the activities we do and the places we visit. The last standard, expedition skills, encompasses this. It is the vehicle that allows us to access the deep learning of the first three. For example, learning to kayak leads to students to embrace personal challenges, develop healthy relationships, be amongst nature, develop emotional and stewardship connections, and to learn technical aspects of the activity itself.
As UWC-SEA outdoor education runs from K to 12 and is allowing students to gradually level up year to year as the duration of the experience gradually increases along with the technical learning. The outdoor education program is not graded beyond the expectation of participation. This in itself is an interesting debate, as most other areas of learning are graded. The belief for outdoor education, however, is to encourage participation and nurture interest in the experience without pressure of a formal assessment. We meet each student where they are at and support their growth at their pace.
Student reflections are a big part of supporting the learning, and the format of such reflections are really important in capturing the essence of the moment and enabling students to recognise the learning is a big part of our work. We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience, as stated by John Dewey. We also understand that many of the opportunities may not be recognised significantly at the time, but the experience has taught us that most people will look back later with greater level of appreciation and understanding for the opportunities, challenges and lessons from such experiences. A nice pointer to this is evident from grade 12 school leavers feedback and alumni who go on to walk the talk and live the mission. Many alumni contact the college to talk about their fond memories of the outdoor education programme, many pursuing or asking how they can pursue a career in outdoor education, even after graduating and working for a number of years in another field. We currently have an alumni in our department, Kate Johnston, who graduated in 2010. We're very fortunate to have her.
The COVID era undoubtedly posed a significant challenge as we had to rein in on what we had previously been doing. However, it's also been an opportunity to adapt and continue the programme, utilising the best of what we could have control over and access to on the Singapore College campuses and locally in Singapore. This was only possible due to the emphasis based on the holistic whole child development view that exists at UWC-SEA. The grounding and resources were already in place to get creative and problem solve an existing outdoor education program from 80% overseas overnight expeditions to an initially 100% campus and then to a hybrid campus and local program. The result enabled us to grow in new ways as we operated specially designed programs for our younger years, grade 2 to grade 5, on our own campus that linked with the curriculum outcomes of self, others, nature and skills. Team player, navigation, nature, water, safety and survival passport stamps were produced to accompany the student learning journey passports, and all experience featured food and fun to celebrate with a late night on campus when students could experience the school in a new way. The classroom teachers and TAs also benefited as they discovered new areas on the campus along with new activities for future alternate sessions.
We're fortunate that restrictions eased sufficiently in the early part of 2021 to get our middle school students off-site, and we made the very best of Singapore's own wild spaces as again we ran curriculum-aligned programs to all corners of this tropical island state and engaged students with trekking, kayaking, sailing, high ropes challenges, team building and time in nature, all of which have demonstrated that they are supporting students to develop the learner profile traits and outdoor education curriculum outcomes.
We've even successfully adapted an infant school stairwell at the East Campus to become a 60-foot or 18-metre abseil venue, which we just recently used with the entire grade 5 cohort, and in June 2021 100 grade 8 students when COVID restrictions retightened and our off-site programme had to be brought back on campus.
Okay, so let's get on to what's next for outdoor education. Firstly, we know it's important. In the past couple of years, despite the successes of our adaptations to the outdoor education programme, we see our students have missed many of the fundamental experiences that have made UWC-SEA what it is. Those expeditions and trips being the cornerstone of the UWC-SEA experience. As we're emerging from COVID restrictions, we're incredibly busy exploring and planning for next year's programmes and what outdoor education will look like in the next few years and into the future. We'll be aiming to take in what we've learned from the experiences of the past, reviewing what we're currently doing and taking our best steps forward. The key learning is that Singapore and our campuses have much to offer and have supported valuable learning opportunities. Retaining some of these will be part of the restoration and rejuvenation of the outdoor education programme.
The college has undertaken a review of the sustainability of our expeditions and trips. This has been an extensive review that the college will be implementing to ensure that trips are filtered through a sustainability lens. Does this mean that an end to our travels? The short answer is no. What it does mean is that we will be ensuring that each trip and expedition will be planned with sustainability built into the process, reduction of our impact on the environment and built into practices and habits to support sustainable practice. Aligned with this, we will continue to ensure that the connection to nature further fosters environmental stewardship and supports students to be ambassadors for a sustainable future. One of our key aims will be to reinstate the residential experience and to increase the novelty of those student experiences, each of which have been shown to increase our learning outcomes. Diversity, equity and inclusion are at the forefront of our thinking. We are aware that our philosophical underpinning, as we've described today, comes from a Western-dominated worldview. One of the ways that we are addressing this is through the diversity of the outdoor educated team, with a view to ensuring we are reflective of the diverse student body that we work with.
In terms of learning, interdisciplinary learning is the key focus for us to support other areas of the college learning programme. This doesn't mean that we'll necessarily taking the classroom outside, although many of those lessons could go outside. What it does mean is that student experience and connection to their in-context experiences will be taken inside and vice versa. Research shows that students have powerful learning experiences during our outdoor education programme. With that comes an emotional connection to the experiences and the place, and a powerful opportunity to anchor student learning in those experiences in other areas of the curriculum. A simple example perhaps would be student learning about the water cycle. During the students' experience with the outdoor education programme, they will visit Jawara on Pulau Tioman. They'll experience the ocean, the reef, the mangroves, the river and the rainforest, and undertake activities in those spaces. A place where significant learning has already occurred and emotional connections made. A classroom teacher could leverage on that experience to anchor learning about the water cycle. Much better than a textbook, a drawn example, a classroom experiment, or a case study from an unknown location. A real opportunity for connecting a student's experience to theory, practice, and enhance a student's understanding and a connection to knowledge development. With students' experiences mapped through their time at the college, this will support classroom teachers to leverage on those experiences.
As we've mentioned previously, expedition skills are the vehicle that we use to access the deep learning. For example, embracing challenge, developing healthy relationships, and environmental stewardship. It's through the development of these skills and access to them on a regular basis that we believe is fundamental to enhance connection and greater understanding, which after all is possibly the most important driver of the college mission, making education a force for uniting people, nations and culture for peace and a sustainable future. Frequently, these expedition skills, camping, kayaking, trekking, mountaineering, sailing, rock climbing, cycling and more, become very healthy lifelong passions too.
In a blue sky world, students would learn across age ranges, as we see in the scouting movement, with older children taking the lead and teaching the younger children. Knowledge would be developed from real, in-context experiences of the child. Sustainable living and practice would be embedded and habituated. Human and nature-powered vehicles would be the primary methods of undertaking our journeys. In many respects, the blue sky world exists, yet to be fully realised. We continue nurturing the blue skies above, and the odd pie-in-the-sky thinking, for example, owning and sailing a tall ship or two, or a permanent outdoor education hubs here and abroad. We as a team get inspired and nurture those ideas over time and develop our shared visioning into reality.
We stand on the shoulders of the giants that came before us and are truly grateful to all those that have contributed to the outdoor education programme being what it is today. We're excited to continue to build capacity across the college and expand the delivery of the deep learning that outdoor education experiences offer back to and beyond levels pre-COVID-19, and expand those experiences through and across the learning programme. We are really excited to be collaborating with all areas of the learning programme and the college to leverage on those powerful experiences to truly immerse our students in a holistic learning environment. Thank you all very much for your attention.
We hope you feel inspired to spend more time in nature, learning with others, expanding your own comfort zone, and practicing existing or new adventurous skills. Get outdoors.